withstood his searching eye, and the little high-walled bay had kept out of his fierce flames. Long he had hunted when rain till down chilled his wrath, and he went back to his golden crouch to sleep, and to gather new strength. He would not forget or forgive the theft, not if 1,000 years turned him to smoldering stone, but he could afford to wait. Slow and silent he crept back to his lair and half closed his eyes. When morning came, the terror of the dwarves grew less. They realized that dangers of this kind were inevitable in up their quest yet. Nor could they get away just now, as they would have to wait for some time before Smog relaxed his watch sufficiently for them to dare the long way on foot. Luckily, they had saved enough of their stores to last them still for some time. They debated long on what was to be done, but they could think of no way getting rid of Smog, which had always been a weak point in their plans. As Bilbo felt inclined to point out that then, as it's the nature of the folks that are thoroughly perplexed, they began to grumble at the hobbit, blaming him for what had first so pleased them, for bringing away a cup and stirring up Smog's wrath so soon. "What else do you suppose a burglar is to do?" asked Bilbo angrily. "I was not engaged to kill dragons. That is a warrior's work. But to steal treasure, I made the best beginning I could. Did you expect me to chop back with the whole horde of Thor on my back? If there is any grumbling to be done, I think I must have to say you ought to have brought 500 burglars, not one. I'm sure it reflects great credit on the vast extent, great credit on your grandfather, but we cannot pretend that you ever made your grandfather. But you cannot pretend that you made the vast extent of his wealth clear to me. I should want hundreds of years to bring it all up. It was 50 times as big and small as tame as a rabbit." After that, of course, the dwarves begged his pardon. "What then do you propose we should do?" the Mr. Baggins asked Thorin politely. "I have no idea at the moment. If you mean about removing the treasure, that obviously depends entirely on some new turn of luck and getting rid of Smog. Getting rid of dragons is not at all in my line, but I will do my best to think about it. Perhaps I have no hopes at all, and wish I have safety back home. Never mind that for the moment. What are we to do now today?" "Well, if you really want my advice, I should say we can do nothing but stay here where we are. By day, we can no doubt creep out safely enough to take the air. Perhaps before long one or two can be chosen to go back to the store by the river and replenish our supplies, but in the meanwhile everyone ought to be well inside the tunnel by night. Now, if I will make you an offer. I've got my ring, and we'll creep down this very noon. Then, if ever Smart ought to be napping and see what is he up to, perhaps something will turn up. Every worm has his weak spot, as my father used to say, though I am sure it was not from personal experience." Naturally, the dwarves accepted the offer eagerly. Actually, already they had come to respect little Bilbo. Now he had become the leader in their adventure. He had begun to have ideas and plans of his own. When midday came, he got ready for another journey down into the mountains. He did not like it, of course, but it was not so bad how now he knew more or less what was in front of him. He had known more about dragons and in the willy ways. He might have been more frightened and less hopeful of catching this one napping. The sun was shining when he started, but it was as dark as night in the tunnel. The light from the doors, almost closed, soon faded as he went down. So silent what was his going, and he was inclined to feel a bit proud of himself as he drew near the lower door. There was only the faintest glow to be seen. "Old Smog is rarely asleep," he thought. "He can't see me or he won't hear me." "Cheer up, Bilbo," he had forgotten or had never had heard about dragons' sense of smell. It is also an awkward fact that they can have an eye out. They can keep an half an eye open, watch while they sleep, if they are suspicious. Smog scarcely looked fast asleep, almost dead dark, with scarcely a snore, more than whitish of unseen steam. When Bilbo peeped once more from the entrance, he was just about to step out of the floor when he caught a sudden thin and piercing ray of red from under the dropping lid of Smog's left eye. He was only pretending to be asleep. He was watching the tunnel entrance. Hurriedly, Bilbo stepped back and blessed the lock of his ring. Then Smog spoke. "Well, thief, I smell you, and I feel your air. I hear your breath. Come along, help show yourself. There is plenty and to spare." But Bilbo was not quite so unlearned in dragon lore as all that if Smog hoped to get him to come nearer so easily, he was disappointed. "No, thank you, Smog the Tremendous," he replied. "I did not come for your presents. I only wished to have a look at you and see if you are truly as great as tales say. I did not believe then." "Do you now?" said the dragon, somewhat flattered, even though he did not believe a word of it. "Truly, songs and tales fall utterly short of your reality. O Smog, the chiefest and greatest of calamities," replied Bilbo. "You have nice manners for a thief and a liar," said the dragon. "You seem familiar with my name, but I don't seem to remember smelling you before. Who are you, and where do you come from, may I ask?" "You may indeed. I come from under the hill, and under the hills, and over the hills my path led. And through the air I am he that walks unseen." "So I can well believe," said Smog. "But that is hardly your usual name. I'm the clue finder, the web cutter, the stinging fly. I was chosen for the lucky number." Lovely tales," said the dragon. But lucky numbers don't always come off. I am he that buries his friends alive, and drowns them and draws them alive again from the water. I came from the end of a bag but no bag went over me. These does not sound so credible," scoffed Smog. "I am a friend of bears and the guest of eagles. I am ring winner and luck winner, and I am barrel rider," went on Bilbo, beginning to be pleased with his riddling. "That's better," said Smog, "but don't let your imagination run away with you. This, of course, is the way to talk to dragons. If you don't want to reveal your proper name, which is wise, and you don't want to infuriate them by a flat refusal, which is also very wise, no dragon can refuse the fascination of riddling talk and of wasting time to trying to understand it." There was a lot here which Smog did not understand at all, though I expect you do, since you know all about Bilbo's adventures to which he was referring. But he thought he understood enough, and he chuckled in his wicked inside. "I thought so last night," he said, smiled to himself. "Lakemen, some nasty scheme of those miserable tub-trading lakemen, or I'm a lizard. I haven't been down that way for an age and an age. But I will soon alter that." "Very well, old barrel rider," he said aloud. Maybe Barrel was your pony's name, and maybe not, though it was fat enough. You may walk unseen, but you did not walk all the way. Let me tell you, I ate 6 ponies last night, and I shall catch and eat all the others before long. In return for the excellent meal, I will give you one piece of advice for your good. Don't have more to do with dwarves than you can help." "Dwarves," said Bilbo, in this way. "Don't talk to me," said Smog. "I know the small taste of small dwarfs. No one better. Don't tell me that I can eat a dwarf-riding pony, and not know it. You'll come to a bad end. If you go with such friends, thief, barrel rider, I don't mind if you go back and tell them so for me." But he did not tell Bilbo that there was one smell he could not make out at all. A hobbit smell. It was quite outside his experience and puzzled him mightily. "I suppose you got a fair price for the cup last night," he went on. "Come now, did you?" "Nothing at all." "Well, that's just like them, and I suppose they are shulking outside, and your job is to do all the dangerous work and get what you can when I am not looking for them, and you will get a fair share. Don't you believe it? If you get off alive, you will be lucky." Bilbo was now beginning to feel really uncomfortable whenever Smog's roving eye seeking for him in the shadows flashed across him, and he trembled and uncomfortably desire seized hold of him. to rush out and reveal himself and tell the truth of Smog. In fact, he was in grievous danger of coming under the dragon's spell, but picking up courage and he spoke again. "You don't know everything, O Smog the Mighty," said he. "No gold alone brought us hither." "Haha, you admit the us," laughed Smog. "Why not say us 14 and be done with it, Mr. Lucky Number?" "I am pleased to hear that you have other business in these parts beside my gold. In fact, you may perhaps not altogether waste your time. I don't know if it had occurred to you that even if you could steal the gold bit by bit in a matter of 100 years or so, you could not get it very far. Not much use on the mountainside, not much use in the forest. Bless me, had you never thought of the catch? A 14th share, suppose, or something like it. Those were the terms. But what about delivery? What about cartage? What about armed guards and tolls?" And Smog laughed aloud. He had a wicked and wily heart, and he knew his guesses were not far out, though he suspected that the lakemen were at the back of the plans, and most of the plunder was meant to stop.